Hey guys, what's up? This is Sonic Soul here, and I just wanted to talk about Nash's V-Triggers, both VTrigger 1 and VTrigger 2, and which one I think overall is better to use in matches. Now, I just wanted to bring this video to light, seeing as how there's been a little bit of Nash content on Vesper's channel already, which if you haven't checked those out, I highly recommend you do. We cover what we want for Nash in Season 4, as well as some tech that you could kind of cop for your own Nash play. But all that aside, let's just get right into the video and discuss what his V-Triggers are, what they do, and which one I think is better. So let's talk about Nash's V-Trigger 1 first. It's a 2-bar V-Trigger and it's a teleport. So he's basically able to teleport twice around in 3 different directions. So if you press heavy punch and heavy kick, he will appear behind the opponent. If you press forward and heavy punch and heavy kick, he will appear behind and above the opponent. And if you press back and heavy punch and heavy kick, he will appear in front and above the opponent. So Nash's V-Trigger 1 is useful for a variety of reasons. It can be used as a combo extension tool, so let's say you're doing a combo and you wanted to extend it a little bit further and maybe go into super, you can use this V-Trigger for that. You can also use this V-Trigger to make moves that would generally be unsafe plus on block. So let's say you used forward heavy punch or forward heavy kick or medium kick scythe, and they're getting punished or reversal cannon drilled for whatever reason. You can cancel those into V-Trigger and now you're plus, and you can start your pressure and hopefully turn the tables there. Let's say you're on defense and you have EX Scythe and you think the opponent's gonna throw you. Well, if it hits, you get a conversion. If it doesn't, then you're plus on block with V-Trigger 1. So overall, it can make your unsafe moves a little bit safer to just throw out and do.
I went for the throw too, Sonic. I literally went for the throw too.
Your already annoying crouching medium kick becomes even more annoying with V-Trigger 1 on deck, because now the opponent has to change the way they kind of approach you a little more, because they can't just walk on the ground and not block. So the reason for this is if you press crouching medium kick and you cancel that into V-Trigger, the grounded version, you're plus 9. So you can do crouching fierce and you can get a big conversion into whatever ender you want, which will give you good wake up game. Now, if the opponent, let's say, wants to shimmy you and you're taking throws in the corner and they want to condition you by walking back and baiting the throw tech, you can actually press low forward instead, crouching medium kick, into V-Trigger and now put them in the corner for trying to put you in the corner. This is really good on both offense and defense for Nash to have. V-Trigger 1 can also go through projectiles and throws for its grounded version on the first 3 frames of the move. So let's say you're fighting against an Akuma player and he does standing medium kick into EX red fireball. You can press V-Trigger, heavy punch plus heavy kick, to go through the projectile and then switch sides and punish him, putting him in the corner. Also, let's say the opponent tries to meaty throw you. You can actually use your V-Trigger 1 to go through that as well. The only problem with this is that there is a lingering hurt box for Nash on the recovery frames of his V-Trigger, meaning that if the opponent delays their throw or projectile, or you are too late on your reaction, what will happen is you'll get hit by the projectile or throw anyway. Now, this kind of sucks. Why is there a lingering hurt box in the first place in the middle of the opponent? I don't know if Capcom intended that, but I would like for it to be removed. But that's the only flaw that I could think of with V-Trigger 1, despite the buffs to it in AE. V-Trigger 1 is also very useful in the Fireball War, because let's say you're fighting against a Guile, for instance, and he throws out Sonic Boom or he does V-Skill, right? You can react to it with your grounded V-Trigger, so heavy punch and heavy kick, and then actually punish them during their startup to recovery frame and get your set play and start your offense, which is really good for Nash. The last thing about this V-Trigger that's really good is the ambiguous setups that you get with EX Tragedy Assault and sometimes EX Sonic Boom. But I'm not going to cover any of the mix-ups here because I felt like I've already covered them already in the Nash Tech video that I made on the channel, so if you haven't seen that already, definitely give that a view. So V-Trigger 1 overall gives you a variety of options for just 2 bars, and the importance of it being 2 bars is that you're going to see it twice around if you don't use V reversal. And even if you do use V reversal, you'll still be able to build it back before your character is gone. So it's just overall very, very useful. But the only issue again was the hurt box issue. But aside from that, let's just talk about VTrigger 2 now. Now Nash's VTrigger 2 gives access to a command dash that he's forced to go into on activation. This dash goes into 3 different follow-ups. He can press kick to go into his iconic flash kick called Justice Shell. He can press punch and can go into Justice Corridor, which looks a lot like Captain Commando's Captain Corridor, and it's an overhead. Or he can press back and stop the dash midway. Now, all of the follow-ups with Stealth Dash included have some form of projectile invincibility. It can go through projectiles. So Justice Shell is from frame 1 projectile invincible, Justice Corridor is from frame 3 projectile invincible, and Stealth Dash is from frame 4 projectile invincible. It should also be noted that you can steer Justice Corridor by holding forward. Also, if one of these follow-ups connect, you can cancel into another Stealth Dash afterwards. However, if you do this, you can only go into a move that you haven't already used with Stealth Dash. So let's say for instance you use Justice Corridor. You can cancel the Justice Corridor on block or hit into another Stealth Dash and then do either Justice Shell or you can stop the dash. Now you can use VTrigger 2 in a few different ways. For starters, it's a very good combo extension tool, and it's better than VTrigger 1 in that it does more damage. You can use its VTrigger to obviously punish people who use projectiles, and you can punish them pretty hard with this VTrigger as well. Another thing about this VTrigger is that with your normals and special moves, you can cancel them into the Stealth Dash and then stop the Stealth Dash midway to make them either plus or safe on block on first activation, unfortunately, which is the main problem that I'm going to talk about. And it permeates not only within the normals into VTrigger, but the mix-ups as well with it. A simple example to explain this problem is with a normal like let's say low forward. So in VTrigger 1, it's consistent every time you can do low forward into crouching fierce on hit, right? This is because of the screen freeze. In VTrigger 2, you can do crouching medium kick, activate the VTrigger 2 Stealth Dash, and then go into Justice Shell or the flash kick, and that combos. However, after first activation, it no longer combos because the screen freeze is no longer there. Thus, the hit, the combo itself is not true, and then they block the Justice Shell and you get punished. Might I add that when this crouching medium kick hits, you can't really switch sides, by the way. You don't put the opponent into the corner. They actually end up just going right back to mid-screen anyway, and you get pressure, but they're no longer in the same scenario as they would be if you played VTrigger 1 and put them into the corner. This is a detriment to Nash's defense that he wouldn't have to worry about with VTrigger 1 that he now has with VTrigger 2. To just continue talking about his defense a little bit further, there was also a nerf to his Justice Corridor. Another thing to note about Justice Corridor is that you can no longer cancel it on whiff into Stealth Dash anymore. This is due to a patch after Street Fighter V Arcade Edition's initial release where they nerfed the ability to do so. This helped Nash on defense with VTrigger 2 because he could steer the Justice Corridor over the opponent's head while he was cornered and then use the Stealth Dash afterwards to escape and make himself safe back at mid-screen. Now because of this first activation, second activation problem, you have to now spend meter to compensate. To explain some of the mix-ups that you get in VTrigger 2, for example, you can combo into Heavy Kick Scythe and then activate your Stealth Dash. On the first activation, you can dash under them, stop the dash, press V skill, and then cancel that V skill into a dash under. You could either end up behind them or you could stay on the same side. But after first activation, you can't do that anymore. You have to replace the heavy kick scythe with EX scythe. And you're already spending resources as is to use your VTrigger 2, and you're already losing in the match, but now you need EX meter to make your mix-up consistent. You have to spend more resources. Another good example is with an EX Tragedy Assault mix-up. With VTrigger 1, EX Tragedy Assault mix-ups are very ambiguous, and you can get them at least twice the round. In VTrigger 2, you only get them once a round, because in the corner, you could do EX Tragedy Assault, and then cancel that into the Stealth Dash on first activation, and then do Standing Heavy Kick, and then dash cancel that Standing Heavy Kick, and you can make it a left-right mix-up. Whereas after first activation, the Standing Roundhouse just whiffs because there's no screen freeze. So it's problems like that that make it hard to really be consistent with VTrigger 2. It requires so much resources to make it safe, and without those resources, it just becomes very risky to use. Now, it's not to say that this VTrigger doesn't have anything cool going for it, because it does. Again, the projectile invincibility is nice, and also EX Sonic Boom with this VTrigger is pretty good. On block strings, you could do Crouching Fierce, Crouching Medium Punch into EX Boom, and that block string can go into several different ways. And since overhead is also airborne, the Justice Corridor, you can use it to bait throws in this situation. Aside from all that, and aside from the obvious Sonic Boom moves that you could get on hit, overall, this VTrigger requires way too much risk to be used. And it's a 3-bar VTrigger. You're only going to get it once around, and more so because Nash is a 950 health character, which means his health is below average. He can't use V-Reversal more than twice in a round if he expects to even get VTrigger, and even that's cutting it close. This VTrigger overall is just way too risky compared to VTrigger 1 when you look at how much utility VTrigger 1 has as opposed to VTrigger 2. You don't have to take my word for it though. You could actually take Bonchan's word for it.
I was specifically told to ask you why you don't use VTrigger 2.
Yeah, he said if there was a reason to use it, he would, but it's just not good enough right now.
Okay. Is there something that you would do to it to make it better?
He says it's in a pretty bad state right now. Like if right now VTrigger 1 is 2 gauges and VTrigger 2 is 3 gauges, and he says that even if Trigger 2 was brought down in its current state to 2 gauges, he would still probably not use it.
Anyway guys, that's going to wrap it up from me. I hope you guys learned something from the video, that you liked and enjoyed it, and if you did, definitely leave a thumbs up down below. If you want to see more videos like this where I talk about characters VTrigger 1 versus VTrigger 2, leave a comment down below. Also, subscribe to VesperArcade's channel and click the dang notification bell so you know the next time he uploads another fire video. And lastly, of course, you know you gotta follow your boy, twitch.tv/Sonic_Soul. I play a lot of fighting games on there, primarily Street Fighter V, but I try to play other games as well, and I've been getting into Devil May Cry a lot lately. So yeah, definitely check me out there. Anyway guys, take care, appreciate you all, see you next video. Peace.